What's up YouTube, my name's Dan and this is SerbiasSportsCards, and today I'm going to help you determine whether or not your card is worth being submitted for grading. Okay, first let's start with the tools you're going to need.
First things first.
First thing you're going to need is a lit magnifying glass, and this thing, let me tell you, will be a dream crusher. The stuff you don't see with your naked eye, the scratches on the surface, the fingerprints. Fingerprints are somewhat visible, but I'm telling you, you do not see a lot. So this is going to help save you money by not submitting cards that aren't worth being submitted.
Number 2.
Next thing you're going to need is a microfiber cloth, like one you use for a cell phone, whatever. Again, very cheap, $1 or $2, Amazon, eBay.
And number 2 or 3 or whatever number we're on.
Third, you're going to need a ruler, or I suggest getting one of these. Here you can actually see it. This thing is gold. It is, I mean, a ruler will do, but this thing makes it so much easier. So helpful. Shoot him an email, Nick, good guy. Let him know SerbiasSportsCards sent you. Maybe he'll cut you a little deal. But yeah, these are I think he's $17.99, I think they are. So if you're grading, you know, a bunch of stuff, highly recommend it. But if it's a couple things, a ruler will do you just fine.
4.
Card savers. PSA and SGC requires you to send your cards in using only card savers. BGS I submitted through just using top loader, so that's not a problem.
You gonna learn today.
I'll take a card, quick look at it before taking a deep dive into it, and you know, inspect the corners, the edges, see if I see anything. If I see anything, I don't even bother going forward. Once you know I put it in that process, I drop it in a box. Eventually, that box builds up, and I'll sit down and go through everything. And it takes me, you know, maybe 2 to sometimes 4 or 5 minutes, depending on what the card surface looks like. If it has, you know, fingerprints, or sometimes you can, it'll have a surface scratch that you can actually wipe off with the microfiber cloth. Takes some work. The edges will have, every once in a while, you'll see a card with like little piece of cardboard hanging off. I'll take my finger and kind of rub it back and forth, kind of saw it off, you know what I mean? Can't really pull it off or anything. So it really depends what the card looks like, how long it's going to take me, but usually it's about 2 to 5 minutes per card.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Cards are graded on 4 categories: centering, surface, corners, edges. And we're going to break down each one step by step on what you should be looking for.
Write that down, write that down!
So some things to be looking out for with corners would be the white showing, especially on the tops. They're notorious for having white corners, and this one's no different. The Keston, if you can see it, it's got the white there. Something like that. With a card of this value, I'm not going to bother submitting it. Something a little bit more, like say $20 or more, I would consider it if that was the only flaw, because I mean it still has a shot, the way PSA or any of the grading companies are, to still hit a 10 with that. And even if not a 9, you know, a few years ago nobody wanted 9s, but now 9s are somewhat relevant, that it's still worth doing a bulk submission for. And some of the cards, you know, you're doing a bulk submission, but it might have more value if it's a 10. So, you know, you're going to get an upcharge, but it sucks getting that upcharge, but it's a good thing because, you know, your card is more valuable than you thought it was.
Another one.
Thing to look out for on stuff like gold, Topps Gold. Metal Universe is another one that sticks out. Fleer Metals. Ones with this surface that has very easy to chip. But the Machado has it down there. You can see the white showing. Something like that. Probably not going to grade personally because it also has that. But if this card only had that spot, I would probably still submit it in the hopes I would get a 10, and if not, a 9 is still okay.
Another one.
I'm not sure how these are being graded. This year was very bad with it. But the misstamped, there was like a ghost behind them. See how bad that is? Not even close to aligned. So I'm thinking that's going to affect the centering. I mean, the top to bottom is already off-centered, but with prism cards, it's very easy to tell the centering without even using a tool. All you gotta do is count the dots, make sure they match on both sides. Every year has the dots.
Another one.
This card was a real heartbreaker, and you're gonna have stuff like this, but I get past all the steps. It's got crisp corners, no chipping on the edges, centering is good, surface is good, and I flip it over to the side, back to inspect. So that's another reason why you want to kind of eyeball the card before taking a deep dive.
Another one.
So you want to look at the surface of the card. Under the magnifying glass, it's going to show all the fingerprints. If it has any scratches, factory lines, you're going to see the factory lines without the magnifying glass, but look out for stuff like that. Yeah, I don't even know what happened, but that came right from the pack like that. Never assume cards are going to come out of the pack of 10. You can take a card from a pack, put it in a plastic, send it off to be graded, and it's still not guaranteed to be a 10. That is a common mistake people have early on in grading. One thing I would suggest, if you have the time and patience to do it, start with grading through BGS if you've never graded before. Now, I don't recommend them because their value is higher or their turnaround time is better, because they're not, but they do give you the subgrades. They let you know why the card got the grade it got. None of the other companies do that. So if you send some cards, that'll give you a little idea of, you know, what you can look for on that card and see the flaw and then learn from that. I understand that's not for everybody, so, you know, really inspect the card as much as you can. Don't assume anything, and use that lit magnifying glass. Do not grade anything without that, because you will waste money and your time. Grading is expensive, so you want to make sure you know that you're grading something worth grading. That's it. First person that can successfully name all the pop culture inserts in this video, I'll send the grading tool and the fresh microfiber cloth to get you started. Good luck. What's up, everybody? Hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. Please subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow me on Twitter at SerbiasSports, Facebook at SerbiasSportsCards, on Instagram at SerbiasSportsCards, and go to SerbiasSportsCards.com for my blog post. Until next episode, good night.